Hello everybody, my name is Zane Mangan. I'm 18 years old and I've been doing martial arts for 7 years of my life, and I want to tell you everything I've learned up to this point. So first, let's go back to the beginning. How did I get into martial arts? When I was 6, 7, 8, or 9, I started doing karate lessons. In these karate lessons, I learned to listen to an instructor, and I really just learned a lot about flexibility. I was able to stretch my body. I definitely learned a lot about my body and how to use it in a good way. I had a bunch of friends in karate and we always sparred all the time. It was a great time and just a great experience for me when I was little. It was one of the things I really loved. I really feel like anything in the area of a solo sport I would be good at. After a while, karate got boring. So I lived my life for a little bit and I did everything I really just loved doing. I just was me for the next couple years. And then I started doing sports. I tried out football, I tried out basketball, flag football, but all these sports were team sports. I always had to cooperate with other people. I always had to listen to a coach, and I'm fine with listening to the coach. But after doing all these sports, I figured out I never really liked any of them. I don't know if it was the coaches, the teammates, or just the sport in general, but it never came to my heart. It was never real. I was still in elementary school after I finished all these sports I didn't like playing. It was about the time Fortnite came out on computers. And as a young kid, Fortnite was definitely appealing to me and my father, and we played a lot of video games together all the time. But after playing a lot of video games and learning how to talk trash online, I developed an attitude that would lead me to getting into punishment, getting my phone taken away, or anything negative of the sort that did not go well at all. So one day, instead of punishing me for my wrongdoings, my dad took me to a Jiu-Jitsu academy, but I was happy with it. When I first got there, I met my first coach. I got my uniform, my belt. I learned how to tie my belt since day one, and I started my first class. My first class was really fun. I never had to really worry about anybody else or what they were doing, and I could really focus on myself every minute of the time I was there. I made some good relationships with the coaches, and I just felt really friendly with everybody I met. Fast forward a couple days, my dad thought I had some talent, so he put me in a competition on the weekend. We got there. I'm still a white belt. This is my first week of jiu-jitsu. I feel ready. I'm not even nervous because I don't even know what it's like. And then finally they call up my name and boom, I see a guy that has a gray belt and looks like he's been doing this for at least a year. And end of the story, I got beat up. But that didn't stop me. After that tournament, I showed up again on Monday. I felt okay with the loss because I didn't know too much about jiu-jitsu. But I also understood the only way to get better is to invest in myself and learn new things. So over time, I started doing a lot more competitions. We would be competing almost every weekend at different tournaments in Austin, Dallas, Houston, and Texas. Slowly in these competitions, I started to get better. And over time, I was going against orange belts, green belts, everybody that was really good at these tournaments. After a while, my dad made a lot of connections, and we brought a lot of the great kids that are in Texas to one spot at our academy. At this spot, every Sunday from 1 to 3, we would do an open mat. This open mat was one of the most emotionally challenging, physically challenging, and mentally challenging places I've ever been in my life. It is just stuck in my head of how crazy this place was. There were about 10 dads in the room, and with 10 kids with their pride on the line. These kids were the best of the best in Texas. And me, I was just some gray belt that just met them. But every Sunday we would sit there, roll with each other, do jiu-jitsu with each other for an hour or 2 hours straight. Almost every roll made somebody cry. Some people even went unconscious. But being able to roll with the best of the best really sharpens your skills on another level. So after time, trial, and error, a couple months passed, and I started competing at IBJJF tournaments. I was competing in Vegas, California, Florida, but the main one was definitely in California, Long Beach. That is where you could become a world champion as a kid. In my gray belt year, in 6 months, I became a world champion. I'd say I was about 11 years old still. And that was one of the highest times of my life. I had my dad with me, my mom, my family, my coaches, everybody together. And it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever made. And then a year later, I did it again. Moral of the story of these competitions is that without testing your skills in these tournaments, it's really hard to see what you're lacking. Say if you go to jiu-jitsu for, 2 months straight at your gym and you just roll with random people there all the time. Sometimes you don't realize what you're lacking. But these tournaments will show you exactly what you're lacking. Whether it's you get armbar too much, whether you get your back taken quickly, Whether you get swept really easily, whether you're really bad at takedowns, there's always some kind of flaw you can see in any match. So please, I urge you guys all to compete, test your skills, and see what you can work on. Because in Jiu-Jitsu, there's always another problem to solve. One of the greatest ways I learned techniques in Jiu-Jitsu was going to private lessons with professors from around the world coming to Texas to compete. At our academy, there would be always a lot of Brazilians that would show up, and I would always try to squeeze in a seminar or any type of lesson that can help me learn what they're doing in a whole another country. They would teach me personally what I could work on, and they'd show me things that are new that I haven't even seen before, ever. But even if you show up to these tournaments and get private lessons from some of the best people in the world, there's something else that you can miss that will keep you average, and that's discipline. Like I said in Jiu-Jitsu, there's always something new to learn. And if you don't show up every day to the gym, there's always something you could miss. Say if you go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you miss Thursday, but you can make it Friday. What if there's something you didn't see on Thursday that could change your life on the weekend? Showing up every day can really improve your confidence physically and mentally. Physically because you're training your body, you're training your arms, your limbs, your hands, everything to just move in a jiu-jitsu way. And mentally because every day you prepare, you know you're not missing out. And you're doing everything you can. And if you don't show up every day at the gym, how do you expect your coach to show up one day on the weekend for you? And one of the last things I learned from Jiu-Jitsu is that there's always going to be somebody better than you, and especially adults. Studying film and breaking down matches online is one of the ways I've learned so many new techniques in this game. Watching Cade, Tairu Tolo, Andrew Tackett, a lot of the big names out there in the present today are just the head of the future of Jiu-Jitsu. So please, I ask you to go online and watch these guys because these guys are amazing at what they do. Now, breaking off from Jiu-Jitsu, let's go to freshman year in high school wrestling. I'm about 14, 15 at the time. I just figured out what a weight room was and I barely touched a barbell. At the start of the school year, I wasn't even wrestling. I didn't even do any off-season practices. One day, my dad called me and said, "Hey, you want a leather jacket?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go do it. I want to try it out." Keep in mind, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 4 years at this point. So my dad calls the coach. I'm about 100 pounds at the time, and I'll be wrestling at the lightest weight class of the year, which is 106. I show up, I barely beat the guy that's on the varsity spot, and I claim my spot for my freshman year in high school wrestling. High school wrestling is really fun. I had a lot of good friends at school, but that first week of practice was something else. I've never practiced this hard in my life. 2 hours at 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning was just something different that just had to be done. But little did I know in wrestling, there were so many bigger sharks out there than what I was. After my first season, I became a state alternate as a freshman. It wasn't bad, but I didn't even get to compete at state. I did the same thing my sophomore year. I was still an alternate, and my friends all got to go to state, but me, I just couldn't make it. It was a really humbling experience for me. Wrestling was always one of my low points, but I did everything I could to get better at it. Junior year, I didn't even make it to state. I made it to regionals, I think, but after that, I think I just got beat up. And then my senior year, I got injured. I couldn't do anything. I had to watch all my friends from the sidelines. But those 3 years of high school really showed me what true discipline is like. In jiu-jitsu, it was easy for me because I always won. I was always really good at it, and I never had too many problems or difficulties getting better. But in wrestling, I was always one of the last people to the goal. Sometimes in tournaments I never even place, most of the time. I only got a couple gold medals in my whole career in high school wrestling. I may have reached 100 wins, but I also wasn't the best. There were so many really good wrestlers all the time, and I couldn't match their level. But one of the main things I took from wrestling is showing up even when you don't want to. After a long day, a long tournament, a long week, you would still show up on Monday at 6:30 in the morning. You would practice an hour of conditioning. You would learn technique for 30, 40 minutes, and we would wrestle for 30 minutes almost every day. But I knew every day if I showed up, I could be the best wrestler Zane Mangan can be. Now we're meeting up to the present moment of my life where I've graduated high school, I've just started online college, and right now I'm currently injured again. I've been having some trouble with my back recently, and I haven't been able to train any jiu-jitsu or wrestling anytime. I recently just signed up for a gym membership at LA Fitness, and it's been one of the greatest experiences ever. I'm able to eat a lot more during my day, and I'm able to lift a lot of weights that I haven't lifted before. I'm just really gaining weight and just working on my body. I think taking time off from jiu-jitsu and wrestling really helped me improve my nutrition and really focus on getting those gains to get a little bit bigger. And obviously, I've already told you guys this, but I've been doing this stuff for 7 years. And you're asking, Zane, there's obviously got to be a reason you're doing this for 7 years straight. And I'm like, yeah, there is. Because all the accountability, everything that depends on what I could be, is all on me. I might have a team, but if I don't show up, how am I supposed to work with them? I can't phone a friend when I'm in a competition. I have to go out there myself and do the best I can do. But that's what I love about Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. The accountability I feel, the sacrifices I have to make to reach my dreams. I feel at peace that it's all on me and not on anybody else. So now I want to talk to you about life lessons I've learned from 7 years of martial arts. Number one, obviously, accountability. You have no excuses. It's all on you, and you own your progress. In martial arts, you can't blame anybody else for your absence. So making sure you're always there on time is always going to help you be the best version of yourself. And the accountability I've learned from martial arts really helps me do everything efficiently in my life now. Going to the gym, eating right every day, doing my chores, doing school online. I'm never behind. I always get things done on time. I'm never late to anybody's meetings. And I'm just someone you can count on. I have a lot of credit. Being accountable really makes you feel at peace, knowing that there's nothing to worry about because you've already got everything done. So now let's move on to number two, which is discipline and sacrifice. Going to bed early at 8 or 9 o'clock at night just to wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning to go train. You have to sacrifice a lot of your time and effort to just show up in the first place. Spending your time that you could be spending with your friends, eating food or going outside, going to restaurants, just doing things in life in general. Those are all sacrifices sometimes you have to make to become the better version of yourself. Some examples are watching film when you could be watching your show. Another example is doing weights when you could be just resting. It's choosing to use your time in the present for long-term growth and not just short, temporary distractions. Choosing discipline today doesn't guarantee peace tomorrow, but it gives you peace in the present, knowing you're doing everything you can today. Discipline and sacrifice are necessary for any goal or dream in your life. In wrestling, I sacrifice a lot of my time. My time to play games, to watch shows, to hang out with family. Just time in general that I won't get back. Choosing that time to put into wrestling allowed me to become the best version of myself in high school. And speaking of being your best self, let's talk about being yourself. Remember, if you're in martial arts, you're always going to be solo. So why not be you? Don't be a copy of some other guys on the mats. Do your own thing. Be yourself. Do what you came to do. What legacy are you going to leave? Not some random person on the internet. You have to learn to bring your own energy and style onto the mats and in life. If you're not yourself, how are you going to be recognized? If you're doing the same thing other people are doing, what's going to be different about you? You have to mix it up. You have to get creative. And if you love it, you'll find a way. And speaking of finding a way, there's always something new to learn. Let's take an example. From high school wrestling, I wasn't always the best, and I never won a lot of tournaments. But I did everything I could to learn, and I learned something new almost every week. I just wasn't as good as everybody else. What I'm trying to say is, you don't have a ceiling. There's nothing stopping you. The amount you're going to learn is always going to be on you. In life, there's more skills. There's like me hitting the gym now at 18. I've never took it this seriously in my life, and I'm learning so many new things about exercises, resting, nutrition, in general. And even in college, I'm learning new things in economics, education, English. There's always something new you could be doing. And right now, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do too. Me doing Jiu-Jitsu, for example, is just a short-term journey. It was 7 years long, almost more than a third of my life. And now, I have to start something completely new. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to ever do it again because my back's hurt. And I'm starting to learn how to do all my gym stuff. But I know in my future, no matter what path I may take, I'm taking my own. I'm not going to be lost in someone else's goal and dream. I'm always going to be wanting to try to fulfill my own purpose, the purpose God gave me. So even if you don't know what's next, it's going to be your path to take. No matter which way you go, left, right, middle, it's going to be unknown, but it's still yours. You're going to be different, being yourself. You can be positive or negative or peaceful. You can be kind or hurtful. But just know you're taking your own path. So whatever's next is up to you. So walk with faith in the future. Hold yourself accountable and be disciplined to make sure you're making the right choices in the present. And don't be afraid to try something new. So take that leap of faith. Learn a new skill. Learn some new money-making skills. Make some new friends. Go to the gym. Go eat somewhere you've never eaten before. Go travel. Just be you. No matter what struggles you may be going through, know there's always hope to your future. Right now, currently, I'm still in a stalemate. I don't know what's next for my life, but I know it's going to be me walking it. I don't know which direction I'm going to take yet, but I'm still here, doing my thing. So I'm asking all of you guys here watching me, do your own thing. Be different. Be the you want to be, not some other copy of anybody in this world. And do what you love. Don't do something that feels like work. Do something that you can do every day, that you can be accountable with, that you can be disciplined with, and that feels like home. I've been able to do jiu-jitsu and wrestling for so long because it's always felt like family. It's peace. It's what I love doing. It might be different from other people's paths, but it's something that stayed with me for so long that I just can't let go of. It changed my life in the past, and I wouldn't doubt it that it can change my life in the future. So find that thing you love to do and do it. Don't stop. Be persistent because there's nothing stopping you. Remember, you have no ceiling, and do your best. You only get one chance at life. There's no taking back the time in the past, and there's no guarantee of any future. The farthest you are is today. So let's make sure today is great. I love you guys. Thanks for hearing my life story and what I have to offer for you guys. And I can't wait to see what you guys can do with your lives.